For some reason, it said live streaming wasn't available on the first one. All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. We're going to pick this up John chapter 5, verse 39. So search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. And if another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom, Master. Hold on, let me get this video situated on this side of things. Goodness grief. And I have to put the other one on private. Shalom, Brother Harrison, man. We're good with you, my G. All right, y'all. You grab Hosea chapter 2, verse 14. I got some things switching in my head before I got here, and from yesterday, something that hit my mind. And then, a conversation being had about something that we done discussed several times before, which is the what does it look like when people say, hey, they had the Holy Spirit, and that's going to be kind of contained in the Son of God conversation we started last week, and also the corn, oil, and wine in Hosea chapter 2. So it all works. Hosea 2. I'm chilling, my G. What's good with you, man? Hosea 2 and 14. Oh, that's delightful. Cranberry and ginger. Therefore, behold, I will allure. Congratulations, man. Praise the Lord. Beautiful thing. You know what you're having, man? Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her. And I will give her vineyards from thence in the valley of Achor for a door of hope, and she shall sing there as in the days of her youth, as in the days when she came up out of the land of Mizraim. And it shall be at that day, saith Yahuwah, you shall call me Ishi, and you shall call me no more Bela. For I will take away the names of Balaam out of her mouth, and they shall be no more remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant with them. With the beasts of the field, with the fowls of Shamahim, with the creeping things of the ground, I will make the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and make them to lie down safely. And I will betroth you unto me forever. Yea, I will betroth you unto me in righteousness, in judgment, and loving kindness, and in mercies. I will even betroth you unto me in faithfulness, and you shall know Yahuwah. It shall come to pass, and that day I will hear, saith Yahuwah. I will hear the Shamayim, I will hear the Arats, and the Arats shall hear the corn and the wine and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel. And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I have mercy upon her, and I will have her that have not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which were not my people, you are my people, and they shall say, you are my Elohim. Oh, for sure, for sure. Shalom, Mother Shalom. So, verses 18, if you don't realize that, is literally dealing with dwelling in the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of my, whichever, because we're not going to split hairs with that right now at this moment. So, I'm going to read verse 18 again. In that day I will make a covenant with them, with the beasts of the field, with the fowls of heaven, with the creeping things of the ground. I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and I will make them to lie down safely. Shalom, Jay. So let's see where that's also mentioned. Isaiah 65. And 17. What's up, boy? For behold, I will create a new Shamaim and a new Arax, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. Now, and this is just a rehash of certain things. Dang, Barry's asked me about something too. I need to work that in there too. Can anyone recall why the old Shalom Mika? What's happening, Rowan? Can anybody tell me why that the old earth and the old heaven will not be remembered? Hey, don't come in here with all that noise. Don't do that. Let me be that. Let that be the last time I tell you that. Because of the pass away. Take a sip. That's enough. Good evening, sir. Yes, that is correct, sir. Peace, brother Omar, man. Let's take a look at that. Revelation 21. You good? 21:1. And this will lead into what we were talking about with the sons of God in Hosea 1. Excuse me. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. For technical purposes. Genesis chapter 1. Hand me that, please. What verse are you talking about? Because that's broad. 1:1, if you would, please. In the beginning, Elohim created the Shamaim and the Arax. And the earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Ruach of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. Elohim said, let there be light, and there was light. 10:4. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good, and Elohim divided the light from the darkness. Elohim called the light day. We don't need all that. Verse 9 is what we need. And Elohim said, let the waters of the Shamaim be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry appear. And it was so. Well, I actually did skip over something. It's all good. And Elohim called the dry Arax, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. Elohim saw that it was good. Let me read verse 6. Elohim said, let there be firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters from the waters. Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And Elohim called the firmament Shamaim. And the evening and the morning were the second day. Now, this is what has been created. Let's swing to Genesis chapter 6, and let's see what happened at this particular time. 6 and 5, because we just had a conversation with a gentleman about this here, and sometimes people, and I could get that, right? And this is something we discussed many times over a course of time. And knowing that certain words in English don't come over well from the language that the word was written in. So like when you see the word thoughts, people think automatically the thoughts that's in your brain. So that's why when people say, oh, everybody's sin because the thoughts of foolishness is sin. But not understanding that word thoughts means your plots, your plans, your devices, your inventions. See, it's one thing to have a thought. It's another thing to have a thought and then begin to formulate more thoughts to be able to execute the plan that has came into your mind. See, like I said, you can have a thought, I'll punch him in his face. But the thought in and of itself, if you bring it into the captivity of a Mashiach, like it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4, and cast that thought down, that's not a sin. But many of you be like, okay, I'm going to wait for him to come around this corner. And when he come around this corner, I'm going to say, hey. And when he look, I'm going to punch him in his face. See, now you done came up with a plan. Now you're coming up with a way to enact that plan and to execute that plan. This is why Ecclesiastes said that Elohim made man upright, but man sought out many inventions. Let's take a look at that so you can see the word that's there. Ecclesiastes 7:26. No, boy. Go sit down. Well, 7:29, I apologize. Well, 26 is fine. Matter of fact, I'll make it 25. Matter of fact, make it 19. Say, wisdom strengthened the wise more than 10 mighty which are in the city. Now, when we look at strengthen, and it is azaz, and it is to be strong or to prevail or to make firm or to strengthen. Now, how does wisdom make you able to prevail more than 10 mighty men that are in the city? Is there any verses that come to your mind? I'm going to get to it, my dear. Does anybody have any idea how does wisdom strengthen you more than mighty men in the city? What does that mean? What does that look like? How is that communicated? If someone read that verse to you and says, how does one do this? Shalom, man. What would you tell them? Again, it says, wisdom strengthened the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. Well, let's take a look at some corresponding passages that go along with that. Come to Proverbs 21 and 22. We'll string them all together. And it'll take us right back to what we read in Hosea 1. 21 and 22. Say justice. Word. This is Proverbs 21 and 22. A wise scale the city of the mighty and cast down the strength of the confidence thereof. Now, what does that sound like? Let's look at that. A man who has kokma. And this one here is the short kakam. Kaf and mean. Someone who is skillful. A wise man. He's learned. He's shrewd. He's subtle. He's crafty. He's skillful. He's artful. He's intelligent. This particular type of man is going to ascend or climb, because that word is Allah. Ayin, lamad, and hay. To go up, to extend. He's going to scale the city of the mighty and cast down the confidence thereof. Now, confidence is miktah. Your refuge, your object of confidence, your security. What do you believe is being communicated? Proverbs 16 and 32. Okay, cool. Now come over here to Proverbs 24 and 5. And we're going to look at that also. Made us good and honorable, for sure. Now it says a wise man is strong and a man of knowledge increase strength. Now I want you to think about all three of those verses. Proverbs 21 and 22, Ecclesiastes 7 and 19, Proverbs 24 and 5. I'm going to grab Proverbs 16 and 32 in a moment. And again, you got kakam. Now with man here, you have Gaber. Gamal Bat and Rosh. So that's a man, a strong man, a warrior. This is emphasizing the strength or the ability to fight. A valiant man. Again, this is a warrior. So when you're looking at an intelligent warrior, it's strong. And of course, you know that's oz or might or strength. And that this man of knowledge is going to increase strength. Now, you know, knowledge here, you have da'af, which is the knowledge of God, perception, skill, discernment of understanding and wisdom. Strength here on the second time is koach, with the strength, power, and might. Ecclesiastes 9 and 18, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me look and see. Come on to Proverbs 16 and 32 first. I don't even think that page is in this book. It is. So it says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. He that ruleth spirit than he that take a city. I can see why that would come to mind for you. Let's look at Ecclesiastes 9 and 18. Say wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyed much good. Now, when you look at weapons of war, that's a different conversation than the other three verses, because that's a whole nother deal. especially when you deal with, when he said the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. That's going to take us in a different direction. We don't want to walk down that road quite yet. Now remember, wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. Proverbs 24:5 says, a wise man is strong and a man of knowledge increase strength. Proverbs 21:22 says, a wise man scaled the city of the mighty and cast down the strength of the confidence thereof. And then, of course, 16:32 says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that rule the spirit than him that take a city. Yeah, that's fighting that. I mean, it can't come into play when you talk about, though we probably can still use it because of the Gabar word, and 24:5, with that man being a warrior. So, yeah, we could probably still work with that. So, nevertheless, when you take all of these things, right, let's look at Proverbs 4:7 on general principle. Wisdom is the principal thing. That means that's the first thing. It's the chief thing. Get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. Matter of fact, look at verse 5. More importantly, say, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve you. Love her, and she shall keep you or guard you. Now, when you look at these things equating to wisdom and strength, I thought surely Isaiah 26 would have came to mind for you. So let's go over there. Isaiah 26:3. And from Isaiah 26:3, 1 John 5:4, I believe. You will keep in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. Trust in Yahuwah forever, for Yahuwah is everlasting strength. Now, why is this important? Because 1 Corinthians 1:31 tell you that a Mashiach has been made wisdom unto us. So when you look at it, he's been made wisdom unto us. And we go to Proverbs 16:32, right? And this goes into the conversation we was having before. Individual asks like, hey, this person say they had the Holy Spirit. This person say they got the Holy Spirit. Where does it come from? Who got it? What does it look like? All this type of stuff. And the word tell you what it looked like. Like we were telling you, we would have a conversation with a dude. Speaking in tongues doesn't mean you had a spirit. You cannot speak in tongues and have a spirit. You can speak in tongues and don't have it. How do we know this? Because we keep reiterating the fact. You've seen them vagabond Jews cast out evil spirits, and them evil spirits say, man, we don't know you, bro. Let's take a look at that for those who have no idea what we're talking about. And we'll look at Matthew 7 for a particular thing. Because remember, Deuteronomy 13 tells you this. Just because that sign and wonder come to pass, that don't mean God with this person. I said to an individual the other day, you know what I'm talking about? See, I made my peace today. I forfeited the Holy Spirit. I'm not getting it back. I'm tripping. That ain't something you can voluntarily do there, sir. That's not how that works. And even if it was, you wow. Acts chapter 19, verse 11. Dwayne Jamal, go take that back to your mama. Elohim wrought special miracles by the hands of Paul, so that from his body were brought unto the sick handkerchiefs or aprons, and the diseases departed from them, and evil ruachs went out of them. Then certain of the vagabond Yahudim, exorcists, took upon them to call over them which had the evil spirits, the name of the Lord Yahushua, saying, we adjure you by Yahushua whom Paul preached. And there were 7 sons of Sceva, a Yahudim, chief of the priests, which did so. And the evil ruach answered and said, Yahushua I know, Paul I know, but who are you? Now I'm going to ask you this question. What was the power that allowed these vagabond Jews the ability to do this? How were they able to do this if the evil spirits say, bro, I know Yahushua and Paul? That's a fact, Brother Harris. He said, I know Yahushua and Paul, but nigga, who is you? How did they have the ability to do this? Where did that power come from? Was the power of them, or was it from another source? You say of themselves? Come over here and look at Matthew 10 and 1. Said not Jesus and Paul, the other guy. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Come over here to Matthew chapter 10, and then we go to Luke chapter 10, and then to Matthew chapter 7. Matthew 10 said, when he called, 10 and 1, excuse me, and when he called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. So now it says that who gave him that power? The Lord gave the apostles that power. Now let's go to Luke chapter 10, about verse 17. Hey, stop playing. Sit down, boy. That is correct. That is correct. And that's what I'm angling towards. The point that gets you to be understood. This is Luke chapter 10, verse 17. Matter of fact, go to verse 1, and then I'll move down. Luke 10 and 1. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also. Because the one in Matthew 10, it mentioned the 12. But now I want you to see that you got 70 others that are not a part of the 12. So that's 82 people who got something to do this. You understand? So you got to understand something. People act like the 12 was it. There were other people that this man sent. The 12 were named apostles because he taught them his testimony after his resurrection, which is something, Shalom, Brother Ernest, which is something that he did not do for the other 70. This is how Matthias was. Remember, they brought 120 men out there to pick Matthias to take Judas' place. All those 120 men walked with this man. Remember that. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also, and sent them 2 by 2 before his face into every city and place whither he himself would come. Peace, Brother Nate. Notice that he said he sent these people ahead of him before he got there. Therefore he said unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray you therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. And go your ways, and behold, I send you forth as lambs among wolves. Carry neither purse nor scrip nor shoes, and salute no man by the way. Now, we don't have to go through all that because you know we're good when it comes to that. Now, let's go back to verse 17. I just needed to read verse 1 to set the stage for you to understand what these 70 had going on. And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through your name. Notice that he said they were subject to him through his what? His name. Remember what did those vagabond Jews say? We adjure you by Yahushua whom Paul preached. You know what I'm talking about? So it wasn't them, it was the name. It was the power that's in the name of Yahushua or the power that's in the name of Yahuwah that caused that to happen. That name can give you power. That don't mean God fooled with you. And that's what that evil spirit was communicating to them when they said, I know Yahushua and I know Paul. I don't know you. It's something we done discussed in times past. Well, all the unclean spirits know who belong to God and who don't. Why do you think it tell you in 1 John 5 and 17, he that is born of Elohim sin not, and the wicked one touch him not? Why do you think Satan was able to step about Job? Man, Satan know who belong to God and who don't. You got to understand there's a genealogical role in heaven, man. They know who is who. This thought process that don't nobody know, that's wicked nigga talk. Because the angels in heaven know, the angels in hell know, and you as a believer are supposed to know, because you're supposed to know your God to be able to recognize your God in another person. He said, he that is of Elohim hears Elohim's words. He said, you hear them not because you're not of Elohim. He said, righteous Abba, the world have not known you. He said, but I've known you. And he said, and those apostles knew him because of the word that he manifested to them. Like I said, as we were speaking to a gentleman earlier, the aspect of how you get the spirit, the book lay that out. This is my thing right here, right? That I be hearing people say that's just wild to me. If you say you believe in the book of Yahuwah, this is what you believe in. That means you believe what's written. See, Paul, Psalms 118. We hold it Luke 10, but just come to Psalms 118 real quick. It might be Psalms 116. Let me tell you. This Psalms 116. My apologies. Psalms 116. I'm going to read verse 4 on general principle. When we get to the verse that we want, we're going to go to 2 Corinthians 4, where Paul referenced this particular verse. This is going to turn around and take us back to Isaiah 59, which takes us back to Hosea 2, about you and being betrothed to him in faithfulness, mercies, judgment, and righteousness. And how things going down at the end, because we just didn't skip over that we looking at how he break the bow and the sword and call the animals to lay down so you can sit down safely from Hosea 2. But we tying some other stuff in, y'all willing, we'll get to that before we conclude. So Psalms 116 and 4. Then I called, well, now I'm going to have to read verse 1 for complete context. I love Yahuwah because he's heard my voice, my supplications. Because he have inclined his ear unto me, therefore I will call upon him as long as I live. Now we know that the Lord told him in John chapter 9, excuse me, not the Lord, but the man that was blind. He said that we know the Elohim hear not the prayers of sinners, but he that do the will of Elohim and is his worshiper, him he hear. You know, in Psalm 66 and 18, he tell you, if you regard iniquity, he will not hear you. So when you understand that you love Yahuwah because he heard your voice, he hearkened to your voice and your request, you should call upon him as long as you are alive. He said, the sorrows of death have compassed me, and the pains of the grave got hold upon me. I found trouble and sorrow. Then I called upon the name of Yahuwah. I beseech you, deliver my soul. Gracious Yahuwah, righteous yea, are Elohim, merciful. Yahuwah preserved the simple. I was brought low, and he helped me. Return unto your rest, O my soul, for Yahuwah have dealt bountifully with you. For you have delivered my soul from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from falling. I will walk before Yahuwah in the land of the living. I believed, therefore have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted. Now this is what we came here for. He said, I believed, therefore I have spoken. What is being communicated? See, a lot of people speak, but they really don't believe. And there's a difference. Just because somebody's speaking the word don't mean that they believe it. So the word that's used for believe here in this instance is aman. That means aleph, mim, and nun. You support it, you confirm it, you uphold it. You to be faithful, made firm, confirmed, established, sure, verified, or confirmed. Reliable, faithful, trusty, to stand firm, to trust in. You either trust the word, believe the word, or confirm the word, and that's why you're speaking it. Now, how do you confirm that the word is true? Well, we know from what Job said, of which Paul referenced, that faith come by hearing and hearing come by the word. Most people ain't heard the word. How can you believe the word if you never heard it? Saying, oh, we the Israelites, that don't mean you heard the word, blood. Just because somebody say, oh, you got to keep the commandment, that don't mean you heard the word, blood. That's not what that means. So you have a lot of individuals, they speak, but they don't believe. And you know how they don't believe? Because it manifests in their conduct. It manifests in their service. It manifests in their faithfulness. It manifests on how they interact and treat and deal with other people. So let's come over to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Because that page is not in this book. For sure. We still hold Ecclesiastes 7, by the way. Isaiah 65, by the way. Revelation 21, by the way. We will reiterate what we read in Genesis 1 also. Facts, Omar, facts. So 2 Corinthians chapter 4. What do I want to begin at? Let's look at verse 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious Basar of Amashiach, who is the image of Elohim, should shine unto them. For we preach not ourselves. So that takes us back to John chapter 7. He that seeketh on his own esteem, there's unrighteousness in him. He that seek the esteem of him that sent him, there's no unrighteousness in him, and the same is true. He says, for we preach not ourselves, but a Mashiach Yahushua the Lord, and ourselves your servants for Yahushua's sake. For Elohim, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, have shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the esteem of Elohim in the face of Yahushua HaMashiach. And see, that takes us back to what we read in Genesis chapter 1. Now let's go back to Genesis 1 for the reentrance. He said he commanded for the light to shine out of darkness. So when you read verse 2 of Genesis 1, he says the earth was without form, void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. For those who were not aware of what them words mean, without form is tohu, tal, hay, and that in its formlessness, nothingness, unreality, confusion, a place of chaos, vanity, that which is empty or unreal, figurative for idols, nothingness, empty, space. That which is empty. So in this instance, this is something that has emptiness, no reality, nothing is formed. Do you understand that when you walking in sin that you are full of emptiness? When you walking in the heart of unbelief, you are full of emptiness, confusion, and complete disorder of chaos. Now, he said that they were void in darkness. Void. Again, bohu, ba, and hay. What is this? Emptiness, void, waste. This is something that is ruined. It is indistinguishable. You can't make it out. And again, the darkness here is koshek, obscurity, darkness, i.e. figuratively, destruction, death, sorrow, wickedness. So you have nothing and death. So then he causes the light to shine out of this darkness. Light, of course, you know, is Ore. That's light. The light of life in this instance. So when we come back to 2 Corinthians 4, you get what's being communicated, which is he's deriving this from Genesis 1. That's why he's saying this. You understand? Paul know the testimony. The Lord taught it to him. So when he uses this verbiage, he's referencing back to Genesis 1. Now, whether an individual accepts that or not, that's between them and God. But if you have understanding, it's very plain on what he's saying. So when you look at verse 6 of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, yet again, for Elohim who commanded the light to shine out of darkness have shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the esteem of Elohim in the face of Yahushua HaMashiach. Why is this important for us? Because we were walking in darkness, because you was walking in sin and unbelief. So now he's caused the light of life to shine in your heart where nothingness, obscurity, and death resided. This is how wisdom is, dang, I don't forgot the verses. Let me reread those. It's 3 different ones that we're referencing right now. We referenced in Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. He that rule is ruach than he that take a city. So an individual who has control over himself, which is a fruit of the spirit, self-control, temperance, he's better than one who can take a city. Someone who is slow to wrath is better than a strong man. Why? Because the word is in you and it can constrain your behavior. This is how the light shines in the darkness, because anger rests in the bosom of fools. And the wrath of man work not the righteousness of Elohim. So if you're swift to wrath, if you're swift to anger, you swift to all of these things, that means you still dwelling in obscurity and darkness and chaos and wickedness, and the light has not shined into you because the light of life is not present, i.e. Yahushua is not dwelling in you, which means you're not a son of God, like we read in Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. Proverbs 21 and 22. A wise man scaled the city of the mighty and cast down the strength of the confidence thereof. Well, what is the confidence of those that are mighty? It's the things that they can accrue that are of a natural man or of the flesh or of the world. A wise man can cast that confidence down, which is why the Lord told you to lay up your treasures in heaven. Proverbs 24 and 5. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increased strength. Now we know man here is Geber, and this is a warrior. We know the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So that's when we come back to Ecclesiastes 9 and 18, and they say wisdom is better than weapons of war. Because what we're not worn with swords and staves, we're not worn with pistols, we're not worn with any of those things. The skill, because the Mashiach has been made wisdom unto us, is better than the weapons of war. because the weapons of war can just kill the body, but the weapons of wisdom can destroy wickedness and have the subtlety or the skill to step on the serpent's neck. Ecclesiastes 7:19. Which says, and this is the last one, wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. It gives you more ability than all the skill of any natural man. What was I at before? Back to 2 Corinthians chapter. Prayerfully, that made sense. Yes, that is definitely what that plague in Egypt was all about. And to set the difference between the children of the day and the children of the night. So when you look at him again in 2 Corinthians 4 and 6, hey, you got to calm that to control that because I'm working. So you're causing him to do more than pain. I'm not trying to talk over that. So, for Elohim who commanded the light to shine out of darkness have shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the esteem of Elohim in the face of Yahushua HaMashiach. So when this knowledge shine in your heart, it's going to, see, light and darkness can't dwell in the same place at the same time. So where the light of life is, guess what should be removed? The emptiness, the death, and the chaos and the vanity. So if the chaos and the vanity and the wickedness and all that still exists, that means the light of the knowledge ain't shined in there. That means it's not there. You know what I'm saying? It means it's not there. That's cut and dry. There's no in between. Verse 7, but we have this treasure. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, by the way. We have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of Elohim and not of us. Again, referencing back to what we read in Acts 19, to Matthew 10, to Luke 10. The excellency of the power is of God. So even if you're not of God, the power is still with God to perform the work. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Yahushua, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahushua's sake, that the light of life, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. So then death work in us, but life in you. We having the same ruach of faith, according as it is written, I believe, therefore I have spoken. We also believe and therefore speak. So when you have confirmed and trusted and believed the word, then you speak it. See, a lot of individuals speak it, but they don't believe it. See, we've taken individuals, we was just having this conversation earlier, right? Dudes say everybody a hypocrite. And I'm like, if you knew the definition of those words, you may be offended by that. Because there's 3 definitions for hypocrite. You know, the Hebrew definition for hypocrite is meaning somebody who unfaithful. And then the original definition of hypocrite is someone who is an actor. You know what I'm talking about? And then, of course, the present day one, that's someone who is a liar. That's someone who professes to believe in things or do things that they don't do. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, and full, you know what I'm saying, transparency of what those words mean. You just told somebody you fake, you flaw, you flodger, you use a pretender. You know what I'm talking about? Now, why in the hell? Now, I don't understand why people do this, but people do it. I don't understand to participate in something and you don't believe it, or to profess to live a particular way and you don't. What's the purpose of doing that? I never understood the purpose of doing that. Before the word, man, when I was in the street, man, I ain't walking around like, oh, I'm a killer. Man, I ain't no killer. Man, I sell dope, cuz. That's what I do. We get money, we stay fresh, we smoke weed. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I don't chase women. I don't care about none of that. Where the money at? You know what I'm talking about? That's all I care about. I ain't got to act like I got no stable of hoes. I ain't got to act like we robbing and killing. That's not who I am. Me personally, I believe people fake and floge for two specific reasons. One, because they're just a flat out liar. They're trying to portray themselves a particular type of way to extract some type of benefit from whoever it is that they're pretending in front of, or they don't know who they are. They're not secure in themselves, and they believe that they need to play a particular role to be accepted in whatever social group that they're a part of. You know what I'm talking about? If you're an individual who doesn't give a damn about being a part of anybody's social group, then that's not the type of behavior you're going to participate in. Now, everybody not raised the same. Now, just like what we were talking about last week, hey man, my name is my name. You know what I'm talking about? Like when he said, hey man, Elohim was not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent. If he said, shall he not do it? And he say that he's faithful and he this and he that. I mean, that's who he is, and that don't change. He stands on those principles and honor. He not going to let you put no dirt on his name. You know what I'm saying? Now, as I was raised as a young man, we would talk the same thing. Man, be about what you talking about. Be who you say you are. You don't give a damn what all these other people saying about you. Do you know who you are? And do you know what you do? And do you know what you won't do? You know what I'm saying? Because people going to say a whole lot of things about you, truth be told. Now, there's some people, they're the people never say nothing bad about you. And there's some people, that's just what they do. You know what I'm saying? You have to know that that's come along with the territory. If you're going to do anything of note, you're going to have detractors that just come with it. You can't care nothing about that. You can't even pay attention to that. You can't even, Shalom, Sister Virginia, you can't even allow other people to even dictate how you view yourself, because you need to know how you view yourself, because you need to know yourself. Who are you? And when you say who are you, that means what do you stand for? What are you about? What principles do you hold? What values do you espouse? What honor do you uphold? Some individuals don't care about dishonoring themselves, and some would rather die than do that. You know what I'm saying? Some would rather die than do that. Some men have no problem being dishonorable in any level, purpose of life. Some dudes cool with that. Everybody not cool with that, though. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not cool with that. And it's not the ability to impress you or to make you think that I'm this or I'm that. Man, some people just simply on, oh, nah, bro. Nah, I wasn't raised that way. We hold integrity over here. See, what does that mean? You could still do something sideways, but be man enough to say that you did that. That's still maintaining a level of integrity because you're not pretending. See, the issue is not if you fall into a bit of folly. It's about, are you integral enough to acknowledge it and not acknowledge it because you got caught? Because see, some people will confess a lot of things because they got caught. You know what I'm saying? Like the young man we told you about who was getting violated anally. If the women wouldn't have put him out there, he would have never spoke on that. He wasn't contrite because of what he had done. He was contrite because he got caught or because it got exposed. You know what I'm talking about? And there's a difference. See, integrity would be like, you know what? Hey man, I'm out here out of pocket, blood. I've been out here wilding, man. You know what I'm saying? I need to go sit down and tighten up on my back stroke. That was a bad choice of words considering what I just mentioned. I apologize. But nevertheless. And a lot of people don't, like he didn't understand that. Because most men are not men of honor. You're not taught to value honor. You're not taught to appreciate it. You're not taught to represent that. So that's hard for people to understand, while some people would take offense to that. Like, nigga, don't try me like that, bro. I'm not them niggas over there. You know what I'm saying? That's them niggas who do that. I'm not them. So don't disrespect me like that. You know what I'm saying? Because some people that, like I say, man, they don't care about that. We talked about that last week. A good name is better to be had than choice silver. You know, name, that's Shem. That's your reputation, your character. So when you say a person is this, that, there, and the third, you're insulting their character. And when you're an individual of no character, a low character, you don't really care about people insulting your character. You don't care about that because it doesn't mean anything to you. But everybody not like that. And we have to shift our brain from that thought process of thinking just because you are a low-grade individual, don't mean everybody else is. He says that would confess your fault. I mean, that come in just period. Not necessarily in this particular matter that I'm discussing, but just in general, period. Because there's no way that you can overcome a fault or overcome a sin of any type if you're not willing to confess it openly. That's why he said there's no way anybody can pray for you or do any or to strengthen you if you just be like, oh, I'm good. Yeah, I know I be around here sleeping with these hoes, but I don't need to say nothing. I can overcome it. Again, a lot of that stuff come into the aspect of the solo dolo thought process that most people are espoused to operate in word wise, when the text always shows that this is a communal type of deal. You know what I'm saying? It's a communal type of deal when it comes to a multitude of things, to be 100% honest with you. But people are not trained to operate in that fashion. Because truth be told, you worrying about if this person gonna say this or do that, and you know what I'm saying? It has to get to the point that who cares? You know what I'm saying? Are you trying to be made whole? Are you trying to be healed? Or you care about somebody saying this or how somebody gonna look at you? You know what I'm saying? And then you would have to realize if somebody looked at you a particular type of way or said something, that's a reflection on them. That ain't got nothing to do with you. And again, I thank the Lord for my mama, because my mom and my auntie, you know what I'm saying, definitely told me that all the time, that you don't never need to be concerned about what people say or do, because that has nothing to do with you. That's a reflection on them and what they got going on the inside. And why are we allowing to what other people have going on the inside be of concern to you and how you see and feel about yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to sit there and pause about that. What does this nigga think or say about you got anything to do with you? It has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. How somebody communicates, treats you, deal with you has absolutely nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? The only way it has something to do with you, if you are specifically and actively provoking, engaging, you know what I'm saying, or inciting some type of negative response from an individual, then that has something to do with you, because you're being a party to that. But if somebody say, oh, that's why you this and you that, who cares? Who cares? The only reason why we care about that is because we seek validation from others, and you are too over invested in the thoughts, feelings, and concerns of other people. You know what I'm talking about? Because you don't know who you are. You're not secure in who you are. You're not secure in your God. So therefore, what other people's opinions of you, they will shape how you feel about yourself. And that would be completely unfortunate, to be 100% honest with you. And a lot of us weren't raised that way. So some of us don't give a damn what other people got to say about us or think about us, because that ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But that all comes into knowing who you are. A lot of people who come in this word, they don't know who they are. They don't know who they are individually, and they don't know who they are as in relation to Yahuwah. And that is why you see a lot of the things that you may encounter. Because you have a lot of people who have no identity. You know what I'm saying? None. Proverbs 29:25, it is dangerous to be concerned with what others think of you, but if you trust in the Lord, you are safe. He said that's the Good News translation. For those of you who may not have the Good News translation, be like, I don't know what they're saying. 29:25 says, the fear of man bring a snare, but whoso put his trust in Yahuwah shall be saved. And it definitely does. It's definitely a trap. When you are reverent or afraid or terrified of man, that is going to be a trap for you. And you can never travel down that road. So we just finished 2 Corinthians 4. I believe, therefore I have spoken. Let's go back to Luke chapter 10. In Matthew chapter 7. We in Luke 10 and 17. And that's what I was telling the dude, we were rapping about it earlier. Like, shoot. Like, I was raised a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? Peace, Brother Joseph, man. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I didn't care. Like I told you, man, I'm in the 6th, 7th grade. These niggas back in the back messing with this freak chick, man. Might have been in the 8th. Like, I ain't give a damn about what they had going on. You know what I'm saying? They want me to participate. I'm like, bro, I ain't come here for that, bro. Came here to learn. I'm not impressed with this young woman who ain't got no respect for herself. And you think I'm supposed to participate in this with y'all, and y'all trying to see if I'm gonna do that so I can earn some cool points with you? Nigga, I don't give a damn about no cool points from neither one of you niggas. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm definitely not impressed with this young girl. Now, we all the same age. I'm not moved by that, nigga, because I'm not trying to be down with y'all. I don't care what you got to say about me when we leave this classroom because I didn't participate in what y'all had going on. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I genuinely don't care. And that's when it come in that when people say, I don't be a leader or a follower, that has nothing to do with leadership. That has to do with you knowing who you are, the cognitive ability to think for yourself and not seek the acceptance and validation of others by participating in behaviors that don't align with the values and principles of which you live with. That has nothing to do with being a leader. That has something to do with not being a jackass. You know what I'm saying? Not being influenced to participate in things that will compromise who you are at your core. But the only way that you cannot compromise who you are at your core is you have to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And the way a young child can be able to do what I was able to do is your parents have to instill that in you early. That's not something you wait to do when they get in middle school. It's not something you wait to do. You do that the day they're born. This is a repetitive thing that is embedded in their heart so that when they get to that age, they firmly are and are resolutely locked in because they know who they are. So the influence of others and the validation of others will not sway them to where they will participate in behaviors that are contrary to the principles and honors and virtues that you imparted unto them. Told you before, man, the biggest mistake that you can ever make in life with a child is thinking that you can wait to deliver core principles when they get older. That's not how that works. You know what I'm talking about? The word tell you, train up a child in the way that they should go and they will not depart. That means you have to start that early. And I mean early. A child has more capability to understand way more than you give them credit for. They have the ability to understand by how effective you impart the information. Simple as that. If you're ineffective in imparting the information, then they will not be able to understand it, to hold fast, to execute it. If you are effective in communicating based on how the child learns and understands, they will hold fast to every single solitary thing that you taught them because you would be teaching them to be confident and resolute in who they are as an individual. But when you don't give them that, they're not going to love themselves, and they're going to seek love from outside sources, meaning the validation of their peers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can't be on that. That's right. You definitely can be better a leader in a bad way. You see that in Coast all the time about self-validation. And that's a true story. And that's because leadership is the term is thrown, it's bandied about very loosely. You know what I'm saying? It's spoke on very loosely. You know what I'm saying? Especially when people look at, these Hebrew leaders and this, that, there, and the third. But if you are a teacher of the word, what are you leading people to? You're supposed to be leading them to God. Simple as that. That they can get the information to be able to serve their God. It's not a situation where you got people up under your thumb. Like I told you when I was young, man, dude we were copping work from, niggas didn't want to teach you how to cook up no work. They steady wanted you to buy the jugglers, buy the ready rock. Because they knew that there would be an elevation that you would have if you knew how to whip up your own work. A lot of dudes wanted to keep exploiting you because they'd make more money with you buying the ready rock. I still got to get Isaiah 43 and 18 that Derek put out there too. It came to my mind. And versus you buying the weight per se. So word-wise, you're supposed to give the men the tools to be able to lead and guide themselves and their family, not to keep them under thumb. That's the purpose. That's the purpose why Paul say, I haven't held back anything profitable unto you. If you want to know if this person is trying to keep you up under their thumb, they're going to hold word back. They're going to breadcrumb you. They're not going to give you the whole pack like boom, 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 boom. Here go to work. this how you cook it, this how you cut it, this how you ship it. Because they don't want you to know that. Because once you know that, they're going to be like, you don't need me no more. Anybody who's sent by God, they don't care about that. Because that's not their job for you to need them. You know what I'm saying? Individuals think that way because if they were in that position, that's what they would do. So you don't even know that people be projecting and telling on themselves. Because a lot of people will tell you this is what they would do if they had the opportunity to be in that position. Shalom, Brother Marcus. That's exactly what they would do. That's a fact. The Most High and the Mashiach don't hold nothing back. Hold something back for what? What good is it to keep the pack? Did you forget about the parable of the talent when he said, you wicked and slothful servant? You kept back which was mine. You supposed to multiply that. You know what I'm saying? So if I gave you this pack, what are you supposed to turn that 1 into 6? At least into 2. How you hold the work, don't flip it. Like how that work? Niggas saying they got word, but you don't share it. Well, you going to hell with that. Because, boy, you supposed to put that on the block. You think this man give you a pack for you to keep it? No, he give you a pack for you to off that. What you holding on to the work for? Because this nigga says a line in the street. He's scared to go outside. Say the wolves out there, man. Niggas be robbing and whatnot. I can't go out there. You know what I'm saying? Real niggas going out there with their fire and let a nigga have it with my automatic. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know, but let me leave that one. Luke 10:17. And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through your name. And he said unto them, I behold Hashatan as lightning fall from Shamaim. Behold, I've given unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not, that the Ruachs are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in Shamaim. Now, notice what he told. Don't be happy because you got power to do X, Y, Z. Be happy because you on the genealogical roll of the sons of God. Be happy with that. You know what I'm saying? People don't look at that right that way because you're doing it for men. So you want to have this ability so you can be justified by man. Remember, he say that is, say, that which is justified by man, that's an abomination before God. That's what the Lord told you. I ain't say it right. Come to Luke 6:16 and 15 and let the Lord tell you to you. And he said unto them, you are they which justify yourselves before men. But Elohim know your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of Elohim. And that's what a lot of people got going on. They want to be justified by men. They want the praise of men more than the praise of Elohim. That's just how the game go, baby. That's how it go. That's how it roll. You know what I'm talking about? But Matthew 7 and 13 on general principle. Give me one moment, please. All right, Matthew 7 and 13, man. Enter you in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that lead to destruction, and many there be which go there and thereat. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which lead unto life, and few there be that find it. Beware of false prophets which come unto you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bring forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bring forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. People tell you that had a spirit, be evil as hell. Now you heard what the man did told you. So Jeremiah tell you that you never cease from yielding fruit. So if the tree is claiming to be good, but the produce what they producing is corrupt, you already have your answer. You already have your answer. There's nothing to talk about. You don't listen. Remember when it said mark, right? Do you remember what that Greek word mark meant in Romans 16? Let me refresh your memory, I should say. This is in Romans 16 and 17. Remember that word mark in the Greek? That scopiho, to look, to observe, to contemplate. to look to take heed to yourself, or to mark, to consider, to take heed. That means you don't got to point out and be like, oh, this nigga weird, woo, 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 woo. You're supposed to be able to observe, understand, and adjust and operate accordingly. You ain't got to sit back and run around and be like this, that, then the third, because it should be evident. Or as Pimp C put it, we ain't got to expose these niggas because they exposing themselves every day. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people like to make videos about people exposing them and this, that, then the third. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been on that because I don't care enough. Because the nigga gonna expose himself. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got to do. And a lot of people don't know how to play chess in that regard when it comes to things like that, man. You ain't got to scream out everything you see and everything you peep. All you got to do is sit back and peep the play and adjust yourself accordingly, because the nigga gonna put himself out there, man. It's only so long that fake thugs can pretend, man. People cannot pretend to be something that they're not for an extended period of time, because their desires and their character will begin to reflect and show in their conduct. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't have that ability to fake that long at all. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, if everybody want to scream how everybody just so deceitful and this, that, there, and the third, like I told you a while back, man, most people are not that skilled in the art of deceit. To be skilled in the art of deceit is something that you're trained to do. Like spies, you know, counter operatives, you know, people like the CIA, Mossad, MI6, and people like that. Well, they trained in the art of deceit. They're trained that way. The average everyday person is not that good of a liar. The mark is actually the one who's good at lying to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Most people lie to themselves, and they lie about what they're seeing and what other people are doing to be able to satiate and to be able to carry what it is that they want to see, because the reality of what's in their eyes is not necessarily what they want. So they lie to themselves. Man, most niggas out here ain't that good at lying, man. Most people are terrible at it, especially faking. Man, if you know what you looking at, man, niggas tell them themselves all the time. All the time. And again, the example is when Hananiah told that false prophecy, Jeremiah didn't say X, Y, Z. He said, okay, let Yahuwah bring it to pass and walk off, because he already observed and know this nigga lying. And all these other people out here know that the prophecy was that they would be in Babylon for 70 years. So I don't need to tell them, oh, he lying, because you supposed to already know, you were told. That's why you say, take heed that no man deceive you. I've told you before. So you think screaming this out to everybody, man, if you already got the game, it's on you to take heed to the game. Not for me to steady scream this nigga lying. Why is you steady listening to this nigga if he lying? And you know he lying. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? That's your fault. That's your fault. That's on you. That is on you. That's on you. And people don't want to do that because you want to play the victim. But you're not a victim of this individual per se in every instance and circumstance. You're a victim of your own deceit because you knew better, but you chose to ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Now we talking about in the short term, can somebody do X, Y, Z? Sure they can. But man, listen, man, if you stop jumping after every single solitary desire and run after every whim and just sit back and see if over time, does this individual behavior reflect who they say they are and who they say they represent, you'll know. I just seen a dude saying these godly men coming in here telling you Proverbs 30 woman. Like, come on, man. How you a woman of God, a nigga tricking you out your drawers? How that happen? Ain't nobody tricking you out your drawers. You wanted to get that man them drawers. How you a godly woman and you having sex with this man, you're not married to this man, and you live with this man? That means you not godly, baby. Y'all just talking. Because that doesn't make any sense. Because if you hold fast to the word, you can make your mouth fry fish. You looking at their behavior. But when you're not holding fast to the word, you're going to make 1,000,001 excuses for their sinful behavior. Man, the behavior is who they're showing you they are. I don't give a damn how you feel. I don't give a damn what you think. I don't give a damn what you think they could be. Their behavior is telling you this is who they are. It is what it is. If the nigga cusses people out in a heartbeat, that is an angry, malicious individual. Simple as that. If they always in arguments with people, this is a contentious person. It is what it is. If this person is running after every single solitary woman they see for some coitus, this is a whoremonger. It is what it is. Like what are we doing? Oh, you don't want to see that because you want this individual in your personal space. Well, then you deserve everything that come with that. And you get no sympathy because that's what you chose to be engaged in when you knew what was going on. This is why he said a corrupt tree can't bring forth good fruit. So once you see that the fruit is corrupt, why are you still there? And we ain't talking about this with no congregation. If that's what you see, what you sticking around for? Oh, you hoping the fruit will get better? You stupid. Do you know what I'm saying? Stupid meaning you see the truth, but you rather lie to yourself and tell you that something's going to happen that's not going to happen. Because it's not going to happen. Because the individual is not going to continually put together a pattern of wicked behavior when they know what righteousness is, and then you think one day a light going to click on and they're going to say they're going to stop. Now, it's one thing if they have no knowledge of righteousness, but if they have knowledge of righteousness and continually and deliberately and intentionally participate in ungodly and wicked conduct, nigga, that's what it is. What are you talking about? Oh, but because they know they are Israelite and keep the commandments is cool. Huh? That's absolutely insane. 7 and 18, Matthew. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree. No, they ain't being a respecter of persons. That's being a dummy. You know what I'm saying? Respect of persons only is pertinent to judgment. You know what I'm talking about? So it's in determining what is right or wrong. So having respect of persons is you esteem the rich over the poor. That's respect of persons. Meaning that if there's a matter of judgment, or like how James put it, they come into the assembly and you tell the poor person, sit out the way so nobody can see you, and tell the rich person, come sit down in front. See, that's respect of persons. Or if there's a matter of judgment and you judge on behalf of the person with status or the person with wealth, even though they wrong, over the poor man, that's respect of persons. When you dealing with people conduct, ain't no respecter of persons, because that's not no judgment. If this nigga evil, that nigga evil, and if you still fooling with him, you dumb. Because he told, blessed are those who don't go in the way of sinners. You know what I'm saying? Or I will not know a wicked person, meaning I will not experience them, because evil communications corrupt good manners. Some of you have not the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame. Because if you are surrounded by people who have evil conduct, they're going to corrupt you. You're going to participate in their behavior before you convert them. Because if Solomon couldn't do it, I don't know why you think it ain't going to happen to you. You can't be around that. That's why he say don't hang with an angry man unless you find a snare to your soul. You cannot be a godly person hanging with a crew full of hoes, male or female. You're going to be hoeing because you're going to be surrounded by that. Like, why would you even want to be around that? Because that type of conduct should vex your soul because you don't agree with that behavior. But when you don't have no problem with it, like Paul put it, oh, not only do you do it, but you take pleasure in them that do it also. No, you can't be on that. And a lot of people on that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that means you dumb. Well, really mean you stupid. You see the truth, but you're lying to yourself because you want to believe that what is ain't. And what ain't is. That don't make sense. You too grown for that. I could see a teen, you're 18, 19, you know what I'm saying? Early 20s. But once you're in your 30s, you can't be that damn stupid. You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. Matthew 7 and 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bring forth Bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Whereby by their fruits you shall know them. The Lord giving you the play. So by their parade, by their produce, by their offspring, you gonna know them. Ain't nothing else for him to say. He done gave you the game. Now you either gonna peep the game, adhere to the game, or you not. Because he done gave you the master class. He told you what to look for. He said, this is how you know. So then you need to know what the fruit of God is. And then anything opposite of that, they not of God. Simple. Don't matter how you feel. Don't matter what you think. Don't matter about no potential. That man don't deal with none of that. He deal with cold, hard reality. What is and what ain't. Ain't no feeling. Ain't no hoping. You ain't got no fruit, you wicked. You got fruit, it aligns with the peace, joy, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, self-control. Blessed be you. It's just that simple. Man don't think in such terms because you want to see people as you want to see them. And that again comes into the deluding of your own self. Yahuwah don't delude himself. If you show yourself to be ungodly, he is going to treat you as such. Simple as that. That doesn't mean that the mercy is not there. That don't mean the long suffering ain't there. That don't mean the forgiveness ain't there. But it just is what it is. What does that lead yourself? That means you have to take the word, lay it up in your heart, and allow the word to produce the fruit thereof. And that's all on every individual. Because you can hear the word, but you got to store the word up in your heart. And like he said, those who hear the word and with patience bring forth fruit. See, when he mentions patience, let me give you that Greek word for patience in Luke, because Luke is where patience is used. Luke chapter 8, because he don't use patience in Matthew. Let me find the word. So this is in Luke 8 and 15. But that on good ground are they which in an honest and good heart, having heard the word, keep it and bring forth fruit with patience. When you look at patience, and this one here is hupomone, steadfastness, constancy, endurance, a patient, enduring, sustaining perseverance. So what does it mean to persevere? Well, let's look at persevere in English. What does it mean to have a level of perseverance? That is doing something despite the difficulty or delay in achieving success. Most people in a lot of things in life, if they don't get the intended result in the time period that they feel like they should get it, they quit. But you have to be steadfast and endure, which goes back to I believe, therefore I have spoken, which Aman means, which Amuna means, which Amartha means, is being steadfast and constant. You know what I'm saying? It's continual, it's day by day. That's why he said to take up your stake and follow him. So when you take up your stake and follow him and steadfastly endure, then certain things should be purged away if you have heard the word and in an honest and good heart and you kept it. Now, you know, kept in Hebrew is shamar, which is the guard. Let's see what guard here is in this Greek. Doggone Wi-Fi here tripping, man. My God, today. That's okay, pull it up. I ain't got time. I ain't got time to fool with that today. There we go. Let's see what this keep in the Greek. Ketaeko, to hold fast, to keep secure. Same thing, to get possession of, to take. So, you know, Psalms 119 says, I've hid your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. So now you keep it when you're dealing with honest. That is kalas, that is beautiful, handsome, precious, useful, commendable, admirable. Or this instance, affecting the mind agreeably, genuine, good, excellent in characteristics. But an honest heart here is a mind that agrees with the word. And of course, good is, I hit the wrong one. Well, it looked like honest and good mean the same thing. Look like it's the same word. So it's the same word. And that's how that's done. You know what I'm saying? That's how that's done. And that's because you live in a society that has instant gratification. You want the result today. Man, that's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? That's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? You hear the word, you guard the word, you patiently and steadfastly endure. You know what I'm saying? Which means that you endure whatever temptations or lust that you have to hold fast to what this man has promised you. That's why he say the just live by their faith and you'll produce the fruit thereof. But if you do not steadfastly endure, you will not produce the fruit. So that come into what you have to get past is really the thought process that I've been able to ascertain that people get from being in churches. Well, at least if they try, man, they can be trying. That means you have to say X, Y, Z to nobody or point this out or make a statement like, oh, this nigga wicked, they don't believe. You got to do all that. But nevertheless, that doesn't mean that you engage in a particular type of way intimately with individuals when they are consistently showing you a pattern of behavior of not being steadfast because you're hoping that one day they will be steadfast. That is retarded. You know what I'm saying? That is retarded. And it really shows that individuals really don't love themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't be dealing with no woman who, oh, I got to pray and fast for her to serve God and I'm running behind. I'm not doing all that. When this person has already showed that's not what they want to do. I'm not doing all that. And people can say, well, you got to be, no, I don't have to do any of that. That's not me being merciful. That's me being stupid. That's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not doing this because you have a care for their soul. You're doing this because you want this person in your life in some type of capacity. This does not have to be an intimate relationship. It could be a friend. It can be family members. I've seen people do it in all three areas, whether it is a romantic situation, whether it's a childhood friend, or whether it's a family member. And then people going to corrupt you. Because you're not doing this because you have a care for their soul. You're doing it so you can still be attached to this individual. That's what you're doing it for. That's retarded. That's dumb. You have to know how to, hey, I got to let you do what you do. Because I can't be involved with that. My soul at stake. My soul is more important than the connection to you. See, that sounds cold and callous. But those who are Hamashiachs have crucified their affections and lusts. Your feelings don't dictate nothing. When this man told you your heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, who can know it? Man, your inward man and your emotions and your flesh gonna lie to you, boy. And you thinking you doing something godly when God himself wouldn't do that. Well, that man cut Saul off. He told Samuel, what you sitting around here crying for this man seeing out and left him alone? Man, you better get up and do what I told you to do. See, the average person will hear that and be like, why would God say that? Because I don't understand. Well, I'll give you one day to cry for him. I understand. It's a sad thing. You got to care for a soul. I stop fooling with it. I get it. I give you a period. Nigga, it's been 4 days. What you crying for this nigga for? He made his decision. The minute he went in there and heard them sheep bleeping and did opposite of what I told him, he made his decision. He made his decision. He made his choice on what direction he wanted to go. Do you not understand that nobody's just out here who's supposed to be in the word ignorantly doing stuff? That's right. People make their own decisions, but most importantly, people have made the declaration of their intent based off of their behavior. The declaration has been made. You think because you not finna love nobody to godliness, nigga, is you dumb? You loving them ain't gonna make them love God. You have to show forth a pattern of behavior of you loving God, not trying to love them to love God. That's that church stuff. That's dumb. That's dumb. And then niggas don't even be married to these people and be doing that. That's the part I understand. I can see if that was your wife already. I can see if that was your husband already. Y'all was married and one of you heard the word. But brother, not be married to a nigga and be going through all that got to be the dumbest thing in America. Matter of fact, not only in America, you got to be the dumbest nigga in captivity. Because that don't make no sense. You can just leave this nigga alone. I done seen men do it. I done seen women do it. Makes no sense to me. Listen here, man. Man, I ain't run up on my mom about no word. Man, once I got in the word, she was like, man, I don't want to hear that. Man, I left that woman alone. I ain't run up on nothing about no word. Just show the pattern of behavior over time where they see you living it and say, well, let me see what he got going on. That's all you got to do. All this thinking, just being in people's face and doing this here, nigga, you gonna go to hell. Because you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna compromise stuff to keep them in your life. Man, ain't nobody worth keeping that you gotta compromise for, man. That's crazy. He says it's like getting worked up that MMA fighter chooses to get punched in the face. They made that decision. And wrestle, I'm trying to tell you, that don't make no sense. Yeah, that don't make no sense, bro. But again, this goes how a wise man is stronger than many mighty men. Because you can be strong. We talked about this before. There are many men who are naturally strong but are weak because they're weak in faith. See, that wise man is stronger than them because they have a strength to tap into that they can't. That's why he say, Peter, when you convert, strengthen your brethren. Because trusting Yahuwah is everlasting strength. That everlasting strength is going to be derived from the kokma, from the wisdom, from the skill, from the understanding, from the knowledge, from the perception of the word of your God. If you're devoid of that, then you won't have no strength. And when you don't have strength, you'll chase after people who hate God, thinking you're doing God's work. Man, God don't do that. That man said, if they reject my testimony, dust your feet off. God don't do none of this stuff because what that is that's virtue signaling and you convincing yourself that this is what God would do. And he wouldn't. Man, after 2 times, that man done. 3 at the most. He done. He ain't talking no more. Put it to you this way. You fool with a nigga. He slapped the fire at you. You say, okay, I'll come back. He slapped the fire at you again. Look here, man. Out the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, the matter established. It's established. This nigga violent. You don't need to go back to get slapped 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more times. They done shown you who they are. Okay, you gave him a pass with the first slap. You need this nigga to slap you 3,000 more times? But you figure out maybe he don't love me. You didn't realize he didn't love you when he slapped you the second time or the third time? The matter's been established. You come in the house, this nigga call you a raggedy Mitch and a bald-headed hoe. How many times he got to call you that? Before you realize this nigga don't fool with me. How many times he got to call you that? How many times this woman got to do X, Y, Z to you before you realize she don't fool with you? Man, you need a nigga to spell it out for you? Lord have mercy. Matthew 7:21. Not everyone that say unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of Shamahim, but he that do the will of my Abba, which is in Shamahim. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, and in your name cast out devils, and in your name done many wonderful works? Notice what he kept saying. In your what? In your name. So the power was in the name. Just because this individual is speaking in the name does not mean that God with them. Because see, what we look at is preaching and miracles and not lifestyle. What did Paul say? You know my manner of life. Now, see, I was just talking to a dude say, man, I don't know what you do. I don't know you. And I say, you know what? I ain't mad at you for saying that because you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody could see a nigga on the internet, man, you don't know a nigga manner of life. But the individuals, if you round them in the flesh and in person on a regular basis, you know they manner of life. That's why I told you before, a nigga can say something about you, but if somebody know you in real life and they know that's not congruent with the pattern of behavior that you've shown, they're not going to go for that. Somebody who go for that going to go for that because they already didn't fool with you. They was looking to have something to say about you. Which is why when you notice people who in the word and they don't want to be around people, they don't want nobody to know how they living for real. You know what I'm talking about? Because like I said, man, you can't fake for long. See, it's easy to fake if can't nobody see your day-to-day life because you can put on the Ritz when you show up. But if people live around you, they interact with you day in, day out, they run. Hey, man, you can't pretend that long, man. You're going to show yourself. You're going to show yourself. And man, ain't nobody that good at pretending. Man, if a woman got hoe in her, she can't pretend to be godly for long. That hoe going to come out. Not to say that to be disrespectful. That's who she is. See, you think because she put a head wrap on and she put a skirt on, that means she godly. See, that's why these dudes be screaming back, arguing with people about do women wear pants or not. Nah, do the women here wear pants? Nah. But that don't mean she godly because she don't. That don't mean nothing. Man, you know how many people in this word, women who in this word, man, who don't wear pants, them women wicked as hell. That's not a measure, a standard of godliness. And there's women who do, and they don't do some of the stuff that these hoes out here doing, because if she got a hoe in her, she got a hoe in her. And it's going to come out. Because people don't suppress their see, if you haven't mortified a desire, you're just suppressing it. And guess what happened with suppression? Well, that's gonna get tired. It got to get let out. She got to, that desire there, she got to scratch that. You know what I'm saying? If that nigga evil, if he a buster, if he disloyal, if he deceitful, man, that man can't pretend for, he got to do it. Because it's in him. It's in him. That's his character. That's who he is. That's why he said you got to make a new heart and a new spirit so that now God is who you are. If you don't do that, then you're going to still be the same person and them desires going to be there. And all it's going to take is the right situation and circumstance for you to be tempted, and it's going to come out. And people don't want to deal with that because you want to see people for who you want them to be and not for who they are. That nigga is who he is. You know what I'm saying? Case in point. And I'm only saying this because I remember you say your mama get upset about this because a lot of men like this. You marry a man who don't talk. He didn't talk before you married him. He didn't talk when you got married. And then you mad at him for being who he always been. He always been like this. He ain't never talked. Why he won't talk to me? This nigga ain't never talked. How you think after 6-7 years now he finna start running his mouth because you want to talk? That's not who he is. If you wanted a nigga who talked all the time, then you should have got with a nigga who talk all the time. If the man don't talk, that's who he is. Another reflection, nigga marry a woman who don't cook. She ain't never cooked. She wasn't cooking before you got married. Now you man, she don't never cook. Nigga, she never cooked. You already knew that. If you wanted a woman who cooked, guess what you were supposed to do? Get with a woman who cooks. Not complain about who this person has been the entire time that you've known them. He worked too much. You think he just started working too much? He probably was working like that before you got married. But you know what you thought? He'll love me to stop working, and get what? When he stopped working, you mad because he in your face. You need to go to work. So he can't win. You got to stop doing that, man. That person who was who they were. If that's not what you wanted, you can't try to make somebody be something that they're not. If he ain't godly, baby, he ain't never going to be godly. Your vagina and your love is not good enough to make no man on this earth godly. I promise you it ain't. Boy, your wee-wee and your money is not enough to make any woman be godly, bro. It's not. She got to want that for herself. He got to want that for himself. He said, like Proverbs 6, lust is translated with just a look. I'm trying to tell you. But come on, let's come back to Ecclesiastes 7. We done went on a tangent about many of things. We need to get by why you won't remember the heaven and the earth and why he going to break the bow and the animal's going to leave you alone. I got time. I was already behind because I had to go out of town. And we got a late start on work, so I got in here late. So Ecclesiastes 7:19. Wisdom strengthened the wise more than 10 mighty which are in the city. There's not a just man upon the earth that do good and sin not. Also take no heed unto all words that are spoken, lest you hear your servant curse you. For oftentimes also your own heart know that you likewise have cursed others. All this have I proved by wisdom. I said I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find out? I applied my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands are as bands. Whoso please Elohim shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seek, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Lo, this only have I found. The Elohim have made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Because that's what a dude told me. We born in sin. I say, no, we born sinners. That's what he said. I say, no, God made man upright. And that is Yashar. That means straight, upright, correct, right, pleasing, righteous. See, God made you righteous and upright. How do we know this? Because when he made Adam and put him in the garden, he told him, don't take or eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, aka the law. And what did Paul tell you in 2 Timothy chapter 1? The law is not for who? A righteous man, but for sinners. So that's already showing you all the way back in the beginning that Elohim made man upright. He made Adam righteous. Adam ain't had no sin. He ain't know what sin was to have sin. He said, but man sought out many inventions. And what is inventions? And of course, this is kishabone, a device or invention or a contrivance or a mental machination, an engine or invention. So if you're not familiar with the word contrivance or machinations, I think y'all know what machinations is. You probably heard it said before. That's the use of skilled contrivance, that is, to bring something about or to create something. So that's your ability to want to create something or do something. And of course, your machinations. It's a plot or a scheme. What was the plot or scheme? That the tree was one to make one wise. Man sought out his plots and schemes. Man used his skill to bring that about. Yahuwah didn't make you like that. And that's why you have to mortify your members. That's why you have to mortify the flesh. That's why you have to take up your stake daily and follow him. This is why wisdom is able to strengthen the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. This is why wisdom is better than weapons of war. This is why he that have rule over his spirit is better than the man who can take down a city. This is why a wise man is strong and his knowledge increases strength, because the more you have knowledge of God, the stronger your faith get, the stronger you get in your God. This is why a wise man can scale the city of the mighty and cast down the strength of the confidence thereof. And again, that's why him that slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that rule the spirit than one that take a city, because that takes strength to do that. That's why he tell you, James told you that a man who can't bridle his tongue, his religion is vain. Because if you don't have the self-control to be able to maintain yourself, your religion is worthless. That thought process that you could just shoot off out the mouth and you always got to talk, well, that word ain't doing nothing for you, boy. That ain't doing nothing for you. Because you're supposed to be able to control yourself. And just because you got something to say don't mean you should say it. But nevertheless, let me read back to Isaiah 65 and 17, and after that, Isaiah 43 and 18, stemming from Hosea chapter 2. For behold, I create a new Shamahim and a newer Rats, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. I need to finish Revelation 21, I'm sorry. He said, that's not how men's supposed to deal. It's so lame. It's so lame. That's part of the reason why women on the internet might call dudes sassy and say the certain things that they say, because you ain't never going to win verbally jousting with no woman, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's never going to end positively for you. Because number one, you shouldn't be going back and forth with no woman you ain't having coitus with. You know what I'm saying? No woman who is not under your charge, and no woman that you're not responsible for. And even then, you shouldn't be going back and forth with those who you're responsible for or having coitus with. You should just plainly and simply lay out what it is and what it ain't. If they have certain things that they want to say, allow them to be able to communicate that. And then, hey, man, whoop, 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 and that's what it is, man. I'm not finna argue with you. Argue with you for what? And like almost said, I don't want to win unless you trolling. Now, if you trolling, that's different. Now, some women don't like the fact that some dudes be trolling. You know what I'm saying? And dudes be trolling for their own entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And that's your business. I mean, I ain't mad at a good troll. You know what I'm saying? You might be bored. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe this person needs to know and understand through your trolling how dumb they sound. But yeah, man, you ain't gonna never win going back and forth with no woman, man. You know what I'm talking about? So it don't even make no sense to do it. Because it's only gonna end up poorly for you as a man. It's gonna make you look bad. More than likely, you may respond emotionally or irrationally. pt10, it's not going. It's going to go poorly for you every time. Not to mention that it's probably going to be mentally and emotionally draining. So why would you do it? Then you would have to ask yourself, why are you interacting with a woman who want to go back and forth with men? Because I don't want to go back and forth with another man. I'm not going to go back and forth with you, blood. For what? All right, cool. You got it. You have to pay attention to that, man. People who want to do that, man, they don't have good intentions. Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new Shamahim and a new Aras, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, Yakanan, saw the Kadah city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim, out of Shamahim, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Remember, we went back to read Genesis chapter 1 so you can see when the first heaven and first earth was created. We didn't read Genesis 6. But remember, he said the earth was corrupt and full with violence, and the imagination of man's heart was wicked continually. Remember in 2 Peter chapter 3, he told you that this is the same heaven and same earth that was from the time that the earth was flooded. So remember, we talked about this before. This heaven is defiled, and this earth is defiled, simply defiled with innocent blood. And to the multitude of innocent blood, starting with Abel, but of course, the most important blood that was shed of an innocent man, Yahushua HaMashiach himself. This earth is defiled. So there's no way that he that sits on high, Yo Abba and Shamahim, would dare dwell under a heaven and on a earth that is defiled. So what is the purpose of remembering where ungodliness dwells? Remember, Peter told you that we seek after a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness dwells. Why we ain't trying to remember no unrighteousness? Ain't nobody finna be in the new heaven and new earth talking about, you remember that Beyonce concert? You remember the Super Bowl? Those are not going to be topics of conversation. Remember, he told you, you won't even remember the Ark of the Covenant. It won't even be mentioned. It won't even come to mind because God himself going to be with you. So you won't recall these things to mind because they're unimportant. Nevertheless. And they're carnal, indeed. And I heard a great voice out of Shamahim saying, behold, the tabernacle of Elohim is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Elohim himself shall be with them and be their Elohim. Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. Now, I don't think we have a video titled after that. You can come back to Isaiah 65. But we talked about that he going to do creation again the second time. The same way he did. Do you not understand that this earth here is without form, void, and darkness? Just like when the first earth was created. It's just an actual earth with actual people on it that have confusion, vanity, wickedness, death, and nothingness. So he got to do it again. Yeah, he got to do it again. Which is part of the reason why when the Lord come back, he make the earth go dark. Make the stars stop shining and the sun and moon give his light. Because out of darkness there'll come light, just like in the beginning. This is how you know this is your God when you see these works. Because you're supposed to be paying attention to the pattern of behavior that he has consistently shown, because he say he don't change. When you looking for all this other stuff and, well, you know, like people say, God use who he want. That's not how that man operate. That's right, Omar. That's not how that man operate. That man consistently does the same thing over and over and over again. He doesn't make detours and do things to appease the machinations, thoughts, desires, and feelings of men. Like people say, God use anybody. No, he don't. He used the faithful. That thought process that he used anybody to preach his word. No, you niggas use anybody to do your work. He don't. Now think about what you're saying. How dumb that is. He just used anybody. That means he don't even value what he have that he just give to anybody. You know why you think God do that? Because you don't value what you have and you give it to anybody. You don't value your seed, so you give it to anybody. You don't value your intelligence. You don't value your love. You don't value your comfort. You don't value your wisdom. You don't value your understanding. You don't value your womb, so you give it to anybody. So you think he do that too. Oh, no, ma'am, no, sir, he don't. If he told you don't give that which is kadash unto dogs, nor give pearls to swine, that means he value what he has. When Paul says a steward must be found faithful, that means he values what he has. You have to understand that you have to drop this thought process that things of value are just given indiscriminately to any and everybody. That means it's not valuable. It's not precious. That which is precious, you are very careful in who you give it to. See, a lot of young ladies, if somebody would have told you how precious your womb was, I'm talking about not just the platitudes, don't have sex, don't come home pregnant. I'm talking about genuinely imparting how precious your womb is, you wouldn't have gave it to any and everybody. You wouldn't have did that because you would have understand how valuable that was. If somebody would have sat that young man down and told him how valuable his seed is and how precious his seed is, he wouldn't have a baby mama like the one he got right now. You know what I'm saying? If you understood how precious you were, you wouldn't be spending quality time with people in places that you ain't need to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand that, man. So Yahuwah understand that. He don't give that's more his word and his spirit is valuable to him. That's precious to him because it's life. Now he want everybody to have it, but he just don't here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Bro, once you do that, it's not, if anybody can have access to it indiscriminately, it's not worth nothing. It's not worth nothing. I mean, that's normal though, Mika. A lot of people do that when they're devoid of a lot of things. That's just normal behavior. You know what I'm saying? In a situation or circumstance like that. I definitely feel you on that, Joseph, that you hate when people say that without a lick of context or understand. Because people just repeating what they heard other people say because they don't know no better. Especially when you people say, Noah was a drunk and Jacob was, get your stupid behind out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? Because that man, no, Noah got drunk. He wasn't a drunk. You know what I'm saying? There is a difference. How is he going to give his word when he say they drunk and they vomiting lies and defiling the table? No, that don't come on. No, man. You have to understand how valuable things are. You have to understand how valuable your God is, how valuable his spirit is, how valuable your word is, and see how he treated. Remember what it said in Samuel? He said it wasn't no open vision in them days. The word of Yahuwah was precious. That was valuable because it wasn't out there like that. And when you look at it in that aspect, then you can begin to understand how valuable you are. Because he said precious are the death of his saints. That means it's weighty to him, it's prized, it's valuable. You understand? Then you'll begin to understand how valuable your time is, how valuable your wisdom is, how valuable your understanding is, how valuable your body is, how valuable your seed is. You'll start to have a different level of respect for it, and you just won't allow any and everybody to have access to it because they want it or because you think that's what you're supposed to do. You see, he told his apostles, if they don't receive your witness, dust your feet off and slide. If they can't see the value, dip. You never force anyone to see the value. You just manifest it. See, when people say, I ain't got to show my value to no man, he should just see it. Baby, can't nobody see no value if you ain't doing nothing. Value is not something you observe because you exist. Value is something that is observed based off what you do, based off the worth of what it is that you're offering. That's how that works. But you have to understand your value. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't value yourself, other people will not. Other people will not because they don't have a reason to. 65 and 18, book Isaiah. But be you glad and rejoice forever, which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing and a people of joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people. The voice of weeping shall no more be heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor old man that have not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit. They shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree, the days of my people and my elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth trouble, for they are the seed of the Baruch of Yahuwah and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and the dust be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt or destroy in all my Kadash mountain, saith Yahuwah. You think you're going to be dwelling in the power of God and people going to be killing and warring? Remember, Joel told you, beat the swords and the plowshares. Isaiah 2 told you the same thing. That's why Hosea tell you that. Ain't going to be no war. Ain't going to be no fighting. That's why when Gog and Magog raised up, that's why he murdered. Isaiah 43 and 18, God murdered. It wasn't no war fought by man. He said, remember you not the former things of old, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Shall it not spring forth? Shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the serpents and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert to give drink to my people, my chosen. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. So every man will sit with his neighbor under. That's what it said in Micah. Yeah, that's right. Micah said the same thing. See, let me read verse 17 to you, right? He said, which bring forth the chariot and the horse, the army and the power. They shall lie down together. They shall not rise. They are extinct. They are quenched as a tow. Ain't no more war. Ain't none of that. You know what I'm saying? That's over with in that day. And for reference points, you can find that in Isaiah chapter 2, Micah chapter 4, and Joel chapter 3. That is Micah chapter 4, Joel chapter 2, and chapter 3, excuse me, and Isaiah chapter 2. Again, one more time. Isaiah chapter 2, Joel chapter 3, Micah chapter 4. That's where you can find that at. So when you see him say here in Hosea 2 and 18, that I will, in that day I will make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, with the fowls of heaven, with the creeping things of the ground. I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth and make them to lie down safely. And you go read back in Ezekiel 38, when he said you'll be dwelling in the city of unwalled villages, every man in his tent safely, the people who were brought back from the sword. That's why he say that. Because you'll be chilling. Till you get to the point where the new heaven and new earth is made and everything that went down under this heaven. You got to realize something, right? He told you, look at the heavens above and the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth beneath shall wax old like a garment, and everything in between will die in like manner. So when you step outside and you look at that heaven, understand that under that heaven, men have been killed, women have been assaulted. When I say assaulted, I'm talking about sexually. Under that heaven, idols have been worshipped. Under that heaven, idol gods have been called on. Under that heaven, people have been sacrificed to these idol gods. Under that heaven, innocent men have been killed. And the blood of the saints and apostles of times past and the blood of the innocent cry out to this man that is on this earth that has been shed, Israelite or not. All these things been done to this earth, man. Yeah, everything that has been wrong is defiled. So you got to make a new one. And none of that stuff will be remembered. That's why he say ain't going to be no war fall, because ain't no blood going to be shed. That's why he told you in Ezekiel, after Gog and Magog get killed, you got to bury all them bodies because it's defiled. It's defiled. We don't look at it that way because one, probably it's not communicated to us that way. And Yeah, so there's that. But we'll stop right now, man. It's almost 10 o'clock. Hallelujah for Yahushua the word. I appreciate y'all time this evening. I bless you out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Prayerfully, y'all understood all of those things. It's a lot of elements of the end. This fourth is the deliverance of the new heaven and new earth in Hosea 2. You will brood me. Yes, sir. So hold it down, my G. Peace, brother Omar. You know what I'm saying? Contained in that. But see, this is the other thing, right? Because I was asked about this here. So before we depart, I'm going to give you something to look over for yourself. Come over here to Jeremiah chapter 30. Shalom, Dante, man. So come over here to Jeremiah 30. Oh, the red heifer thing, that ain't even nothing to trip about. The red heifer was for the sprinkling of the ashes of the unclean for the purging of sin. So if them people over there sacrificing the red heifer, praise you indeed. Shalom, that ain't got nothing to do with us. Because that's not something that he told you to pay attention to. That's Christian stuff. They're going to build a third temple and sacrifice a red heifer. So what? So what? You know what I'm saying? If they build a temple, so what? That's not what he told us to be paying attention to. That's the left behind Christian rapture, you know what I'm saying, type of deal. That's not what he told you to look for. What you're supposed to be looking for is when them two witnesses pop up. You know what I'm saying? What you're supposed to be looking for is people departing from the faith of Yahushua. What you're supposed to be looking for is a man coming with peace but war in his heart and using dark sentences to teach the people to turn against the covenant. That's what you're supposed to be looking for. You know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to be looking for symbolic type of deals. You're supposed to be looking for a particular set of actions. And when I'm going to lead to that based off what I'm going to read in Jeremiah 30 that I was asked about. Oh, amen, Brother Marcus. Love you too, bro. Be safe out here, man. So Jeremiah chapter 30. Verse 15, you can make it 14 actually. All your lovers have forgotten you, and they seek you not, for I have wounded you with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one. For the multitude of your iniquity, your sins were increased. Now, there's a testimony of Yahushua contained in this. We haven't talked about Jeremiah 30 in a long time. I don't think we did a video where it was isolated. We've done several where it was mentioned. You know what I'm saying? But not isolated. Meaning that the video was named after that. Praise Yahuwah, man. Thank you, Lord, man. Shalom, bro. Hold it down, my dude. Verse 15. When you cry for your affliction, your sorrow is incurable. For the multitude of your iniquity, because your sins were increased, have I done these things unto you. Therefore, all they that devour you shall be devoured, and all your adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil you shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon you will I give for a prey. Make sure I ain't skip what I wanted. Yeah, I did skip it. My bad. Come to verse 1. I went first. That's how you know it's been a long time since we looked at this. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah saying, thus speaketh Yahuwah Elohim Yasharal, write all these words that I've spoken to you in the book. For lo, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Yasharal and Yehuda, saith Yahuwah. I will cause them to return to the land that I gave their fathers, and they shall possess it. These are the words that Yahuwah spake concerning Yasharal and concerning Yehuda. For thus saith Yahuwah, we heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of shalom. Ask you now and see whether do a man travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that there is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. But it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off your neck, and will burst your bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve Yahuwah their Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear you not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahuwah, neither be dismayed, O Yasharal, for lo, I will save you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. See, now that's going to go back to what you just seen in Hosea 2. But this Jacob's trouble, it just really tie into what's in Daniel, what's in Hosea, but what's in Joel, what's in Zechariah, what's in Revelation, as it pertains to a certain level of affliction and persecution of those who believe in the testimony of Yahushua and keep the instructions of Elohim. Now, trouble here is the word Sarah, which you already know, Sad, Rosh, and Hay, that straits the stress of trouble, affliction, anguish. Shalom, Sister Kelly. So, and the key point of why, well, we got to read all of it for context. But when you look at verse 10, how he said that you will return and be in rest and none make you quiet. none will make you afraid, and you'll be quiet. And that takes you to what we read in Hosea when he said he'll break the bow out of the earth. And the references, which we probably have to reference those, y'all willing, on Shabbat, which are Isaiah 2, and your Micah 4, and your Joel 3. Now, I'm mentioning all those so you can read them in the totality. I'm going to read a passage out of each one, but I ain't going to tell you what verse it is because you need to go read it yourself. But he tell you right here, and he shall judge among the nations and rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Now, you come over here to Micah. We'll probably Joel, because Joel first. And Joel chapter 3. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. Then you come to Micah 4. And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore, but they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of Yahuwah of hosts have spoken. And that's how that goes down. So we'll tie into that. Goes back into the sons of God thing that we talked about last week as it pertains to inheritance. And as you can see, it's all the same word. It all ties in together to communicate the same thing, to the esteem of your Father in heaven through the preaching of Yahushua HaMashiach. So again, I say hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. I bless y'all and Bruce y'all and out the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. Continue to stand firm in righteousness and truth and perfect yourselves in the faith, and y'all willing to the next time. All right, y'all.